He just needs to tell that story as an anecdote to have a whole table of people just stop and look at him. Maybe that's his solution to world peace. It's just like, what were we fighting about? I can't remember. And then
Exactly.
get on with their lives.
Yeah, maybe he can confuse us into world peace. That might be
Yeah.
something to try. We haven't tried it. Why not? We could try it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Very Special Relationship, the podcast which looks at the UK and US and says, hey, which one will burn to the ground first? I know we're starting off pretty dark. Anyway, my name's Matt Johnson. I host a show called The Interesting Times. My co-host from Texas is the Lone Star, that is Andrea Bridges-Smith. Andrea, how is everything over there?
Matt, things are weirdly jubilant over here. So Kamala Harris has selected Tim Walz as her running mate, and you are probably wondering, who the heck is that? And so are we, because no one had heard of this guy before 2 weeks ago. But it turns out he is the guy that came up with the idea of calling Republicans weird. So we're all on board. We love him. He is folksy as all get out. He looks a little bit like a slightly younger Santa Claus. So, great. We're all in. Sounds good.
Wonderful. Yeah, I saw a picture of him this morning. Do you think he's going to help Kamala Harris to waltz to victory?
See, this is what's great about him. Puns galore. Just so many options for puns. This is what he brings to the ticket. It's great. I do hope that he will. It sounds like they raised $20 million just yesterday
Wow.
after the announcement. So yeah, I think people are excited about him.
Excellent.
Now I understand that you guys are not having the chill, laid back time over there that we are currently enjoying over here. So what's the latest?
Yeah, we spoke about the fact that we're still having riots over here. Unfortunately, that just seems to be getting worse. As exactly like last week, the tensions have been stirred by people like Tommy Robinson, who's a far-right thug who does most of his shit stirring from a sun lounger in Spain. But people are starting to ask why, if this stuff is being posted on Twitter, it hasn't been taken down. And that's because Elon Musk is clearly a massive twat.
Agreed. Just the absolute biggest twat, an intercontinental twat.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just what you're finding is it's all these platforms for, and I know I'm going to sound ironic, but bearing in mind what we're doing, but there's all these platforms where they turn around and say the mainstream media are lying to you, pick clips that they want to sort of put out there and turn around and go, ha ha, see? And so you can't trust the mainstream media. But what's actually happening, of course, is the mainstream media are the ones that know that they can't put information out there unless it's absolutely true.
Right.
So that's not something that I guess the smaller bloggers, whatever you want to call them, these sort of so-called news groups are just deciding just put any old information out there, but it's going to come back to bite them. Basically, going back to Elon Musk, by the way, he posted, and this riles me a bit. He posted "Civil war is inevitable in England," and as someone who has myself, my friends, my family in England, can I truly recommend that Mr. Musk please keep your opinions to yourself? That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with that sentiment. He should shut up now.
Yeah. Go sit in the corner and count your money. All right.
Right, right.
But what's interesting, because I spotted this in a news clip just shortly before we came on air, they are now going after these people. They're basically saying if you shared clips of riots online, or if you can't turn around and sort of go, oh, well, no, it's just something I did online or something. They're going hard after the people that spread this sort of information.
Good, good. They should.
Absolutely. So as far as the riots go themselves, things, as I say, have been getting pretty scary. A group of fascist thugs managed to locate a hotel that housed refugees and asylum seekers in Rotherham, and they started to set fire to it. And it's unclear whether the people inside are actually still there or whatever. But thankfully, everybody's okay and everything now. But I am surprised that nobody's been killed yet, and I'm also relieved that we don't actually have guns, because it would be a massacre over here at the moment.
Yeah, from the country that has plenty of guns, I can confirm. One thing that I read about this was that Nigel Farage, who had been kind of spreading this misinformation that, had found its way into his Twitter feed, was, kind of like, oops, sorry for spreading the false info that led to those riots. Okay, bye. And, I know that he's also a twat, but just, dude, you're an MP now.
Yeah.
Your job is to make things better, not worse, Not that I think he knows how to do that. Matt, I'm curious, do you see an end in sight to all this?
Yes, and I'm hoping it's a slightly better one. If I could come back to Farage as well, it's worth pointing out that I think it was last year, might even be the year before, he was driving round to a lot of these hotels like that were being set on fire and pointing out, where migrants live and things like that. So, he's now turning around going, nothing to do with me. I didn't do this. I didn't spread all this. It's like, yeah, you
Right.
did. And he also
Yeah.
does this thing, and I noticed Tucker Carlson does this used to do this on Fox News. He asks the question. He said,
Hmm.
all I'm doing is asking the question. Or in fact, what you're doing is planting the seed by asking that particular question. You're leading people down the path. I guess
Right.
in legal terms, if you're in a court, they call it leading the witness, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Effectively what you're doing. Yeah. So it's also worth mentioning, rather depressingly, I suspect that Farage will do rather well, politically out of this. I suspect he'll have a lot more seats than he's currently had. It's worth pointing out he won 4 million votes at the last election, which is not a tiny amount. It's something
Wow.
like the third highest in the country. Because of the way that we have the system that we have, thankfully he was restricted to 5 MPs. I don't think that's going to happen next time. I think we could be in
Yeah.
trouble. We'll move on to happy news in a little while, but for now, if I could just have a little bit of chink of light, shall we say? I think these riots will start to calm down a little bit for a couple of reasons. Schools will go back in start of September, and the football season, I think even next week or the week after. Actually, I think it's the end of August. Shows my lack of footballs, I suppose. But once that starts again, you'll hopefully, fingers crossed, see a bit of a saner country.
Yes, that would
Mm.
be very nice.
So, talking of racist people trying for elections, how is Trump getting on?
Funny you mention him. So Trump, of course, has been trying this racist line of attack against Kamala Harris, and she just keeps pulling ahead of him in the polls. So I wouldn't say that it's working particularly well. He's basically just throwing all kinds of attacks at the wall and trying to see what sticks. It's kind of interesting if you listen to one speech. He'll try out kind of several different things, and you can hear that he has no idea which one he should go with, and he's just kind of putting it out there to see like which gets the most claps, and then I'll say that one a bunch more times. But he's been saying she's a DEI hire. She used to be Indian till she turned black. She's dumb. She's crazy. She laughs too much. And then this week he started misspelling her name like Kamabla, like he just added a B in the middle of her name for no apparent reason and then kept doing that. So it wasn't like, he misspelled it one time because he was typing too fast. He like kept doing it. And, everyone was kind of like, hey, man, are you okay? Do you smell burnt toast right now? Maybe you need to sit down.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
are you all right?
It does sound like he's starting to unravel a little bit. But I think, to be fair, that ship probably sailed a long time ago. And let's be honest,
Yes, it sailed right off the end of the earth.
as the flat earthers would say, yes, off the
Yes,
edge of the earth. There we go.
right over the edge, a little Niagara Falls moment. Now, Matt, as weird and deranged as Trump is, he has got some stiff competition in the presidential race for weirdest presidential candidate. So, coming up right behind him is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came out with a story this week that is absolutely just mind-boggling. Uh, Matt, do you
Yeah.
do you guys have Mad Libs over there? Have you heard of Mad Libs?
Mad Libs? No.
Yeah. Okay, so it's
But
like
if
a
we
game
have,
for
I haven't heard of
children.
them personally. But yeah.
So it's like a game for children, and basically, it's a story, but there's things that are left blank, and you have to fill in the blanks. And so someone will be able to read the
Ah,
story, and the other person won't. And so you'll say, okay, give me an adjective. give me a verb, give me a noun, and
Right.
so they
I think
fill
I know
in,
what you mean.
and
So
then
you have, yeah, I think it's a party game, isn't it? You have the paper folded over, you write the first sentence down, and then somebody else writes the next sentence or something like that, is it?
it's kind of similar to that, yeah. But
Yeah.
what you end up with is a story where it's like, I was having a very purple day. Then a lawnmower, ate my bear, or something like that. So,
Right, right.
so the story that I'm about to tell you is going to be a little bit like that. It's going to be a little disjointed. You're going to be very confused. A lot of moving parts. Stop me if you need a break, okay?
Okay, well, in a weird sort of way, I think I've gotten so used to all the US presidential candidates being crazy. If you told me that one of them did something normal, that would be shocking. But please proceed. I know I'm going to regret this. Please proceed.
there's nothing normal here. So, RFK Jr. took some friends out falconing, as one does. He is driving and he sees a dead bear cub on the side of the road. He decides to put the bear into his van so he can skin it and eat it later. You with me so far?
You know, I'm performing in the Paddington show in London, right?
No bears were harmed during the making of Paddington. Just want to call that out. So then he drives the bear into New York City. Doesn't have time to drop it off at home first, so he just leaves it in the back of the van while he goes and has a steak dinner with his friends. Still with me so far?
Oh boy, where's this break you promised me? Oh dear, not good, not good.
Now, the friends that he was with were drinking, and he had to head to the airport right afterwards. Didn't have time to go home and drop off the bear that has now been in his van pretty much all day long. So, his friends, who were a little tipsy, said, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's dump the bear in Central Park and make it look like it was hit by someone on a bicycle." Now, RFK Jr. happened to have an extra bicycle in the back of the van, as one does. And so he puts the bear and the bicycle out there in the park, stages it to make look like it was some sort of accident, and then gets on a plane and goes on with his life. Is any of that making sense to you?
I have to ask, how big are the bicycles over there?
Not big enough to kill a bear. Matt, this person wants to be leader of the free world. He wants us to give him the nuclear codes. This paragon of good judgment says, let me put my finger on the big red button. Can you imagine him trying to negotiate a Middle East peace agreement? Like, fellas, let's stop fighting. Come on, we'll go drive over an animal. We'll turn it into a pie, or we'll dump its body someplace conspicuous. We can figure it out on the way there. Let's just go. Just everybody calm down,
Yeah. It's like, right, guys, listen up. I've got a great plan. And fair, he just needs to tell that story as an anecdote to have a whole table of people just stop and look at him. Maybe that's his solution to world peace. It's just like, what were we fighting about? I can't remember.
Exactly.
And then get on with their lives.
Yeah, maybe he can confuse us into world peace. That might be something to try. We haven't tried it. Why not? We could try it.
That's the brainworms guy, isn't it?
That's the brainworms guy, which that tracks, right? He even made a joke saying, well, this might be how I got the brainworms from the dead bear. Good times. Good times. Yeah,
Good
that
times.
person's running
Yes.
for president of America. All right, Matt, I think that we should discuss the Olympics for a bit, mainly because it'll be fun. It'll give us a chance to make poop and dick jokes, which I think we all badly need right now. So does that sound good?
Yeah, totally here for it. Let's go.
All right. So first up, the Belgian triathlon team dropped out of the Olympics after one of their team members got sick after swimming in the Seine River. Now, I am curious, Matt, which do you think would make someone sicker, swimming in the Seine or in the Thames?
Oh, good question. Well, I'd like to think we get the gold medal for crappy water flowing in our capitals, but I suspect it would be a rather revolting photo finish. I would also like to say the cycling's coming in thick and fast, which I actually do love to watch. Not only because the British tend to do rather well in it, it also, I think, I don't know, I find it a little bit exciting. But the indoor
Yeah.
stuff is going on at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Now, call the police because I'm about to murder a language, but it's been held in the Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines Velodrome.
Oh.
And I know people are going to put in the comments about how it should be pronounced. Feel free. That's all I say. Feel free. Now, I didn't know this, right? But until my mum pointed it out, she said they're doing the cycling in the velodrome. And I was like, no, the velodrome's in Manchester. That's where the velodrome. And it turns out mum was right. There's loads of countries have velodromes because velo is French for bike. Did you know that, Andrea?
I did actually. And Matt, did you know that if you stage a bear murder with a bicycle, I believe the French refer to that as a coup d'eau dans le parc avec une bicyclette. French degree finally comes in handy. Yes.
Wonderful stuff. Excellent. As you say, your French degree, wonderful. It's coming in right in handy. You didn't think
It's
it was
the
going to
only
be
time.
worth anything in Texas, did you? But there you go. So I've
It's
also
not.
been watching the mixed 4x400 meters. I don't know if you saw any of that, Andrea, but there's this
Yeah.
incredible Dutch runner, Femke Bol. She's amazing. She's over 6 feet tall, for goodness sake. So that puts her at a bit of a physical advantage over some of the other women, let's be honest.
Right.
But
Right.
I hate to say it, Andrea, the Dutch just pipped the US on the line for gold. But this is what I love about the Olympics, right? Is everyone was congratulating each other after the race. It's lovely to see that sort of sportsmanship. Now, if we could get our political leaders to act in the same way, well, we could be on to something.
Yeah, maybe we just let the Olympians run things, you know? We might have better
Absolutely.
results. We haven't tried it. Just check it out. Okay, now there is one other very important Olympic-based news story that we need to discuss that involves a giant Johnson. Not a John Stun, like Matt here, but rather a schlong. And that schlong belongs to French pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati, who attempted to vault over a pole, but his own pole got in the way. Our thoughts and prayers go to Anthony as he deals with the agony of defeat, and our congratulations to his girlfriend who is tasked with cheering him up.
I mean, funny enough, the gold medal was won by a Swede called Mondo Duplantis, which definitely sounds like you're announcing you're about to do something with your penis, doesn't it? But yeah, he broke the world record, in fact, the Swede guy. But yeah, the French guy must have been at the side of the track going, "Damn you, my ginormous cock!"
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm curious. I know there are a lot of fun expressions over there that we, don't necessarily have over here, and vice versa. So I'm curious, what are some of the more creative British euphemisms for a penis?
Oh, right. So this is where we're going, right? Okay.
I did not come here to be a mature adult today. I came here to make dick jokes and giggle like a child.
Let's see how we get on. All right. So a lot of it depends, I suppose, on age and class, or lack of it. No, just kidding. No, it's got nothing to do with class, really. But children would say willy, I guess, and be highly amused by the word, right? But I guess the
Right.
more mature individuals might say knob, bit of a throwaway. Trouser snake, which is usually said by men wanting to impress anyone who's listening. Yeah, I guess the one-eyed trouser snake, that sort of thing, is obviously the slightly longer version. You've obviously
Right.
got dick, prick. We don't really tend to say Johnson so much on this side of the pond, but probably the most creative one I've ever heard is someone called theirs the luncheon truncheon. What about the US, Andrea? What have you got?
Well, I am quite fond of Baloney Pony,
Yeah.
but some other creative ones include Pocket Rocket, Kidney Cracker, and Ankle
Oh,
Spanker. Yeah, this is why I studied languages for 4 years. Just so much beautiful creativity out there.
I mean, the ankle spanker is definitely somebody bragging too much, isn't it, really?
Yes, yes, that is. It's if you hear that, you just need to be like, calm down, calm down. You just settle down over there. Well, that is all the time and dick jokes that we've got for today, but I will be back on Friday with a new episode of the Phoenix News Report, and Matt can always be found over on his channel at The Interesting Times UK. And hey, if you like what we're up to, why not tell everyone you've ever met about it? Give us the old share and subscribe treatment. We are going to see you next week. But until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.